Let me tell you something about a man when he really can't stop thinking about you. Now listen carefully, because this is something a lot of people misunderstand. When a man truly has a woman on his mind, it changes the way he moves through his day. I'm not talking about a casual thought here and there. I'm talking about that kind of thought that keeps coming back even when he's busy, even when he's trying to focus on something else. When a man keeps thinking about you, it means you've taken a place in his mind that he didn't plan for, but now he can't ignore. When a man constantly thinks about you, it shows something deeper than simple attraction. It reveals emotional investment and genuine interest. A man's mind is usually focused on many things: his responsibilities, his work, his goals, and the pressures he faces every day. Men are often wired to concentrate on solving problems and moving forward in life. Because of that, it actually takes something powerful for a woman to remain in his thoughts consistently. When a woman stays on his mind again and again, it means she has created a feeling inside him that he cannot easily ignore. You see, attraction can happen quickly. A man might notice someone's beauty or personality in a moment, but thinking about someone over and over again is very different. That kind of thinking doesn't come from the surface. It comes from a deeper emotional connection. Something about you made him pause. Something about the way you spoke, the way you carried yourself, or the way you treated him left a strong impression. And that impression begins to replay in his mind. When a man is emotionally invested, his thoughts about you don't just appear once. They return throughout his day. He might be at work focusing on a task, and suddenly something reminds him of you. It could be a small memory of a conversation, the sound of your laughter, or even the way you looked at him when you were speaking. These thoughts appear naturally because his mind has started to associate you with a positive feeling. Emotional investment also means that he begins to care about what happens to you. When a man thinks about you often, he doesn't just remember your face or your voice. He starts thinking about your happiness, your challenges, and the things you might be going through in life. He may wonder how your day is going or hope that everything in your life is moving in the right direction. That level of thought shows that you are no longer just someone he knows. You have become someone he values. Another sign of genuine interest is that he begins to remember details about you. Many people hear things in conversations and quickly forget them. But when a man keeps thinking about you, those details stay in his mind. He remembers your favorite activities, your dreams, the stories you told him, and even the small things that might seem unimportant to others. Those memories stay with him because he is mentally revisiting the moments he shared with you. When emotional investment grows, it also affects how a man feels when you are not around. Your absence becomes noticeable. He might find himself wondering what you are doing or wishing he could talk to you again. This doesn't happen because he forces himself to think about you. It happens because his mind naturally returns to someone who made a strong emotional impact on him. When a man can't stop thinking about you, is one of the clearest signs is that he begins to find reasons to contact you and stay connected. This doesn't always happen in obvious ways at first. Sometimes it starts with small messages, simple check-ins, or casual conversations that seem ordinary on the surface. But when you look closely, you realize something important is happening. A man who keeps reaching out is often doing it because you've been on his mind. You see, when someone stays in a man's thoughts, silence starts to feel uncomfortable, not in a negative way, but in a way that makes him want to reconnect. He may suddenly wonder what you're doing at that moment or remember something funny you said earlier. Those thoughts create a natural urge to reach out. That's why he might send a message just to ask how your day is going or share something small that reminded him of you. Men don't usually invest their time and attention into constant communication unless someone truly matters to them. Life is busy and most people focus on their own routines. But when a man is thinking about you frequently, you become part of that routine. Talking to you begins to feel normal and even necessary in his day. It becomes something he looks forward to. Another thing you'll notice is that he tries to keep the conversation going. He doesn't just respond with short answers and disappear. Instead, he asks questions, shares stories, and looks for ways to continue the connection. This happens because the communication itself gives him a sense of closeness. Every conversation is another moment where he gets to feel that connection again. Sometimes he might reach out for reasons that seem random. He might send a message about something he saw online, a song he heard, or a thought that crossed his mind. Those small moments of contact are often a reflection of something deeper. They show that you came into his mind at that moment, and instead of keeping that thought to himself, he chose to share it with you. Staying connected becomes his way of maintaining the bond he feels with you. Even when there is no specific reason to talk, he still finds one. That effort reveals how much space you occupy in his thoughts and how naturally he wants you to remain part of his daily life. When a man can't stop thinking about you, his actions slowly begin to change. Thoughts are powerful, and when someone stays in a person's mind often, those thoughts eventually start shaping behavior. A man who keeps thinking about you will naturally begin to show more care, attention, and priority toward you, even if he doesn't immediately realize he is doing it. Care is often the first thing that becomes noticeable. He starts paying closer attention to how you feel and what you might need. If you mention that you had a difficult day, he remembers it. If you talk about something important to you, he listens more carefully than before. This happens because when you are on his mind frequently, your feelings begin to matter more to him. Attention also grows stronger. When you speak, he becomes more present in the moment. Instead of being distracted or only half listening, he focuses on what you are saying. He might ask follow-up questions or remember things you mentioned earlier. That kind of attention is not forced. It comes naturally when someone is important enough to stay in a man's thoughts. Priority is another powerful sign. Life can be busy and everyone has responsibilities, but when a man keeps thinking about you, He begins to make space for you in his schedule and his life. He may adjust his plans just to spend time with you or make sure he is available when you need him. These actions are not random. They are the natural result of a mind that keeps returning to the same person. When a man's thoughts repeatedly come back to you, his behavior slowly starts reflecting the importance you have gained in his life. When a man can't stop thinking about you, one of the most powerful signs is how clearly he remembers the small details about you. Most people move through their day hearing many things and meeting many people, and naturally, a lot of those details are forgotten. But when someone stays in a man's mind, the little things about her begin to stick in a way that surprises even him. That is because when a person occupies your thoughts, your mind automatically starts holding on to the things connected to them. It might start with something very simple. Maybe you mentioned your favorite food during a casual conversation, or you talked about a hobby that makes you happy. A man who is constantly thinking about you will remember those things later, sometimes weeks or even months after you first said them. He doesn't remember them because he is trying to impress you. He remembers them because your words stayed with him long after the conversation ended. Small details become important to him because they are connected to the moments he shared with you. He might remember the story you told him about your childhood, the way your face lit up when you talked about something you love, or the exact words you used when you described a dream you have for the future. These details replay in his mind because the experience of being around you left a strong emotional impression. When a man remembers these little things, it also shows that he was truly paying attention. Many people hear conversations without fully listening, but when someone is on your mind, you naturally listen more carefully. Your mind becomes curious about them. You want to understand them better. That curiosity leads to deeper attention, and deeper attention leads to stronger memory. Sometimes he may even bring up those details later in a conversation, surprising you by remembering something you thought was small or unimportant. He might ask about a project you mentioned weeks ago or remind you of something you said you wanted to do. These moments reveal how often you have crossed his mind because those memories stayed with him long after you shared them. Remembering details is a quiet but meaningful form of care. It shows that you are not just another person passing through his life. Instead, you have become someone whose words, stories, and experiences matter enough for him to carry them in his mind. When a man remembers the little things about you, it is often because you are someone he thinks about far more than you realize. When a man can't stop thinking about you, something interesting begins to happen inside his mind. His thoughts slowly start moving beyond the present moment, and he begins imagining a future where you are part of his life. At first, these thoughts may be small and subtle. He might picture simple things like having another conversation with you, spending more time together, or sharing experiences that haven't happened yet. But the more you stay on his mind, the more those thoughts grow into bigger possibilities. You see, when someone occupies a man's thoughts consistently, it naturally leads him to wonder what life would be like with that person around more often. This doesn't always happen in a dramatic way. It can start with quiet moments when he finds himself thinking about future situations and realizing that he would enjoy them more if you were there. He might imagine going somewhere interesting and thinking it would be better if you were part of that experience. As these thoughts develop, you slowly begin to appear in his plans. Maybe he thinks about a place he wants to visit and wonders if you would like it. Maybe he thinks about an event coming up and imagines inviting you to join him. These thoughts show that you are no longer just someone he talks to occasionally. Instead, you have started to become someone he naturally includes in the picture when he thinks about the future. When a man begins imagining a future that includes you, it often changes how he approaches the connection between you. He may become more thoughtful about his actions and how he treats you. This is because once someone starts picturing a future with another person, they begin to care more about protecting that possibility. The idea of losing that connection becomes something he wants to avoid. Another thing that happens is that he starts thinking about how you might fit into different parts of his life. He may imagine introducing you to important people around him or sharing meaningful experiences with you. These thoughts are not forced or planned in a strict way. They appear naturally because your presence in his mind has grown stronger. When someone becomes part of your future thoughts, it means they have moved beyond being just a moment in your life. They have become a possibility. And when a man starts seeing a woman as part of his future possibilities, it shows that his thoughts about her have reached a deeper level where she is no longer just someone he knows, but someone he could truly build something meaningful with. When a man can't stop thinking about you, those thoughts begin to influence more than just his emotions. They slowly start shaping his decisions and the way he behaves in different situations. Thoughts are powerful because the things we think about most often begin to guide our actions, even when we are not fully aware of it. When a woman occupies a man's mind regularly, she naturally becomes a factor in the choices he makes and the way he approaches different parts of his life. At first, this influence may be subtle. He might start considering how his actions would look from your perspective. If he is thinking about doing something important, he may wonder what you would think about it. This doesn't mean he is changing himself completely, but it does mean that your opinion and presence in his mind have started to matter to him. When someone's thoughts carry that much weight, their influence becomes part of your decision-making process. For example, he might begin making choices that create more opportunities to see you or talk to you. If he has free time, he may start thinking about how he could spend that time with you instead of doing something else. Even when he is planning simple things in his schedule, the possibility of including you may cross his mind. That shift shows how deeply his thoughts about you have settled into his daily life. Sometimes these thoughts also encourage a man to improve parts of himself. When he keeps thinking about you, he may start asking himself whether he is the kind of person who can add value to your life. That reflection can lead him to work harder, behave more responsibly, or focus more seriously on his goals, not because he feels pressured, but because he wants to feel proud of the person he is when he stands beside you. Your presence in his thoughts can also affect the way he treats you directly. When someone is important in your mind, you become more careful with how you speak to them and how you respond to them. He may try to show more patience, more respect, and more understanding because he does not want to damage the connection that means so much to him. Over time, these small changes in behavior reveal something meaningful. They show that the thoughts he has about you are not temporary or superficial. Instead, they are strong enough to influence the way he moves through life. When a man's decisions begin to reflect the presence of a woman in his mind, it is often a sign that she has become someone truly important to him.